All right, so namaskar everyone and good evening. I heartily welcome all of you to the WCBNR 2.0 talk number 3. My name is Aditya Dharaya and I am a MSc Geology student. And at first, actually belated, I, on the behalf of WCB Research Foundation, wishing all of you guys a very happy 75th Independence Day, right? So now let me give you a very short introduction about like what is actually a WCB Research Foundation, right? I bet most of you people must be knowing. All right, so this WCB Research Foundation, actually the WCB stands for Wildlife and Conservation Biology. This research foundation is a non-profit organization actually, and which is generally committed to like science-based conservation and some outreach kind of activities through the research and development strategies. Okay, it was established with a goal of action-oriented research and providing the students and young research scholars a capacity building platform in the field of wildlife and conservation biology. But how to achieve this? So in order to achieve this goal, the foundation is organizing the WCBinars. Okay, like what is WCBinars actually? These are the kind of webinar series which are organized every third Wednesday in a particular month. So this is meant kind of a platform. Okay, this means to be a platform to the researchers where they can interact live. They can avail the live interactions with everyone and can present their original work. All right, so this was a brief introduction. So now I'm going to introduce about our today's speaker. And yes, at first, this WCBinar at the end of the season of WCBinar, the best three presenters will be awarded on the basis of their ability to present, on the basis of the kind of the research they have presented. And the presenters of the best three presentations will have an opportunity to submit their original research and can have an opportunity to make their publications in the esteemed, renowned newsletter of Prithivya, newsletter of WCB Research Foundation. All right, so now let me introduce you to our today's speaker, Ms Aesha Mehta. She has completed her bachelor's in zoology from Maharaja Sayajirao University, Vadodara, and now she's going to pursue her master's in zoology from Amity University, Noida. And today she's like going to present her bachelor's 3 months dissertation work on the topic, which is like to study the effect of slope on basking activity of Crocodiles palustris. Okay, so wish you all the best to Aesha and wish you also all the best to your bright future ahead. And now I'm going to introduce one more person who is the judge of our today's WCBinar talk. So the name of our judge is Mr. Amit Hegde. So like academically, Mr. Amit's journey was started as a field biologist when he was pursuing his bachelor's. He has completed master's in zoology and has worked on diverse research projects, starting from plants to herpetofauna at different research stations. He's also worked on short films, documentaries, and written articles on popular science topics in regional languages. And broadly, his research interests are in ecology, evolutionary biology, biogeography, species differentiation and speciation, conservational biology. Like currently is pursuing his PhD in breeding ecology of frogs in the Western Ghats. Okay, so now I request our today's speaker, Ms. Aesha Mehta, to please begin with her talk. Please, Aesha, stage is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you for inviting me. So I'll share my screen. So is it visible?
Yes, you can start, Aesha.
Yeah.
Make it full screen and start.
Yeah. Yeah, so my topic for my dissertation was to see how slope is an affecting factor for basking site selection of marsh crocodiles in Vishwamitri River. So this was my 3 months dissertation that I had. So this is my work of that. So crocodiles are ambush predators and they're apex predators, that is the top predators of river systems of India. We have 24 recognized species of crocodilians in the world, out of which 3 of them are found in India. Very first one is the mugger crocodiles, on which I have been working. So it is widely spread all across India. Second, we have gharials that are found in the Chambal River system. And third, we have salties or the saltwater crocodiles that we can find in the eastern coast, that is Odisha. So crocodiles are reptiles and they're cold-blooded animals. So they're ectotherms. So they need external source of heat to maintain their body temperature. So they have a preferred body temperature of around 30 to 33 degrees Celsius. And to achieve such temperatures, they travel across warm areas and cold areas of the environment. Especially basking is more commonly seen in winters, and other reptiles apart from crocodiles like turtles, they also bask because it is very important to achieve the desired temperature for their metabolic activities. And the sites at which crocodilians bask are known as basking sites. This picture is that I recorded in Charotar, and it is an example of basking. So my main objective of the study was to identify the basking sites and to map them using the software ArcGIS. And my second objective was to see if slope is a factor that is responsible for the site selection. And if it is, then how is it affecting the crocodile's basking activity? So this is my study area. So my study area was in Vadodara and Vishwamitri river. So it originates from Pavagadh and then it flows through the city of Vadodara. So the second map that we can see is the map of Vadodara, and it enters the city and it starts from Dena village. Then it travels through the city and ends at Vadsar. So my study area was 20.52 kilometers. And in order to conduct the study, I had divided it into 11 zones. So these are the 11 zones that comprise, and the area where the river enters the city, that is Dena village. So it is very clean. The water over there is very clean, but as it flows through the city, so a lot of sewage is dumped and it's extremely polluted. So at the end, when it comes to Vadsar bridge, that is the last point of my study, so the dissolved oxygen level becomes 0. So it's so amazing to see crocodiles survive in such conditions. And there are more than 300 plus crocodiles in this area. So these are my 7 zones. The smallest zone is zone number 6 and the largest zone is zone number 1. So methodology that I had taken is, firstly, my study period was from 15 January to 15 March. So this was the time that I had visited in the field and surveyed the whole river. Then preferred time in which I conducted my study was 10 to 12 and 4 to 6. So these were the preferred times where crocodiles used to come out on the banks of the river. So the river bank, the whole river was surveyed, and then it was then divided into 11 zones. Then identification of basking site was done. So the basking site was identified and regular monitoring of that site was done to ensure that that is a potential basking site. And a lot of crocodiles were seen like partial basking, or they were completely in water. So I considered only those areas in which like crocodile completely came out on the land and they were basking. So they aligned themselves in the way in which maximum sunlight falls on them. Also, other basking activities were observed with the help of binoculars. And so these are the types of basking that I observed during my study. Very first is the surface basking, in which complete body of the crocodile is in the water. Second is pre-basking, in which 2/3 of the body of crocodile is either on land or on water. And third, that is complete basking, in which complete body of the crocodile is on land. So these three kinds of basking behaviors were observed. Also, in some cases in which crocodiles used to keep their mouth open to prevent themselves from overheating, that was also observed. So all the points with complete basking were taken into consideration. So once the latitude and longitude were recorded of those basking sites, they were added to make a map, and a data sheet was generated. Then I had to georeference the basking sites. So with the help of the software Google Earth and ArcMap, we constructed a terrain map. So firstly, with the help of Google Earth, there is an option of add tool. So we generated a KML file, and then using the GPX visualizer, we made a GPX file. Then eventually with the help of this Arc toolbox and the other tools it has, we generated a raster file, and then an Excel sheet was made which consisted latitude, longitude, and number of species on that basking site, because there were a lot of sites in which more than one crocodiles were basking at the same site. And then using imagery, a terrain map was constructed. So this is the terrain map. It tells us how the neighboring terrain is and how the river flows. And these white pins that we can see, these are the basking sites that I have mapped. So this is the terrain map. So it was constructed of all 11 zones. Then the second map that I constructed for the study was digital elevation map. It is more like a 3D map in which we can see the altitude or how the area is. So this is the area where the river flows, and we have 3 pins over here. So blue pin indicates 1 crocodile basking, green pin indicates 2, white pin indicates 3, and red pin that was only observed in one area, that is zone number 8. So it had 8 crocodiles. And how I created this digital elevation map was with the help of the software ArcScene. So the latitude and longitude were added in the CSV file, and then this map was generated. So it gave a 3D picture. Second map, so my first objective was to map the basking sites. So that was fulfilled by making first 2 maps. The second map that I had to make was the slope map to determine exactly what is the slope of that area, so that I can understand if it is actually affecting the crocodiles or not. So we downloaded the satellite image from USGS platform, and then we clipped it into the sides of our zone. So, and then this is the clip tool which was used to cut the satellite image. So this map, this is the third map that I had generated. So this is the slope map or the contour map. So it helps me to determine the exact slope at that angle. And slope tool in GIS, it identifies steepness of each pixel of the raster image that we have generated. And slope is the degree of incline of any surface. So lower the slope value, flatter the terrain will be. Higher the slope value, steeper the terrain will be. So like this is 1 to 10 degree, so the flatter terrain. But if we see about 80 to 90, so it becomes more steeper as we go down. So these colors help us to identify the exact point. So this is a figure of zone number 7. So this way 3 maps were generated. First is the terrain map, which tells us about the terrain of the whole area. Like this is the bridge flowing, like this is the bridge on top of the river flowing, and these are the latitude and longitude. So they are the basking sites. So this is the terrain map. Second map, the digital elevation map or the 3D map tells us about the quantity of crocodiles, or how many species were there on that. And third map, it tells us the exact slope of that point. So So this is the again slope map. So 11 zones are there. So each zone had 3 maps. So total we constructed 33 maps. So these are few of them. This is a data sheet that I created. So this is like, first we have the zone, then we have latitude, longitude, then number of species on that basking site, then it's like on which bank side, right or left is the site, then does it have shade or not. Most of the areas didn't have shade by the tree or anything. And then the size of the crocodile, approximate size, and how much the slope is, that I had counted with the help of contour map or the slope map. And lastly, we have the elevation I found out with the help of Google Earth. So elevation of that area from the sea level. So my results. So actually this is the image. The first image is of few years back, where the river banks were very flattened and everything. But recently what has happened is a lot of organizations have run like heavy machines all over the banks. So due to which, in order to make the terrain flatter, what they have done is they have destroyed all the previous basking sites of the crocodiles that were there. And as they'll try to make this terrain flatter, all the mud will come in the bottom part. So the slope becomes getting steeper. And this is the condition of the whole Vishwamitri river banks right now. So this is like making the crocodiles into a lot of threat, because their earlier sites were also destroyed. And as the slope will become steeper, it is going to become more difficult for the crocodiles to survive. And plus their population is also increasing. We have more than 300 crocodiles here. So if this continues, it can become a problem. Now, so the crocodile sightings. So in the first week of January, the temperature was really less. So a lot of crocodiles came outside and they used to bask for a lot of hours. But eventually, when the temperature started to decrease in March and April, so the crocodile sightings became less. So they were mostly seen in the waters and everything. Now, these are the two pie charts that I have constructed on the basis of the data I collected. So zone number 8 that we can see. So it has 21 basking sites. So that is the maximum number of basking sites in that area. And in this area as well. So the number of crocodile species, the first chart shows number of basking sites in each zone, and the second pie chart shows the number of crocodiles present on those basking sites in each zone. So in zone number 8, number of basking sites are 21 and number of crocodiles are 33. So number of crocodiles are more than the number of basking sites. So this can also mean that more than one crocodiles bask at the same area. That's why their number is more. And this is the same area in which 8 crocodiles were present at one basking site. So this shows that there is lack of space. There's insufficient space, due to which they have to share the same area. Minimum number of basking sites were observed in zone number 1. Sorry? Hello? So minimum number of basking sites were seen in zone number 1, 2, 9, and 11. So they had only one basking sites. And the total number of basking sites that I found were 58, and total number of crocodiles that I found were 78. Other crocodiles were seen in the river, like doing surface basking or partial basking. Yeah, so highest number of basking sites were in zone number 8, as we discussed. So this indicates that more than one crocodile shared the same space. So there is insufficient space, due to which even conflicts arise. So a lot of times when the adult crocodile used to come, so the juvenile crocodile runs away. So these were also seen, the conflicts amongst the species due to competition. This is a bar chart that I had made for seeing how the slope is affecting the crocodile activity. So maximum number of basking sites. So the blue one indicates number of basking sites and orange indicates the number of crocodiles. So maximum of the basking sites and the number of crocodiles were seen between 20 to 30 degrees. And even a previous study done in Katarnia Ghat by Dinetz et al., they also suggested, like they had the same result, that maximum number of crocodiles were favoring between 20 to 30 degrees. So in my study also, I got similar results. But in case of Vishwamitri, the space is very less. So we got slope degrees even in 40 to 50 degrees. So 42 basking sites out of 50, that is almost 72.4% are present between 10 to 40. So between 10 degree slope to 40 degree slope, we have 72.4% basking sites. And when we see the slope degree between 40 to 50, so even crocodiles are basking between 40 to 50 and 11 basking sites are seen in that place, out of which 90% of the sites are in areas where crocodile population is maximum and they're compelled to bask at the higher area due to lack of place, due to the recent work done by the VMC. So the basking site between 40 to 50 degrees, out of which 90% are present in the areas where crocodile population is maximum. So this shows that it is not an ideal choice, but due to unavailability of space, they are compelled to bask in these areas. And the difficulty of climbing something is proportional to the steepness. So steeper the slope, more difficult it will become for the crocodiles to climb and bask on it. 73% crocodiles are present in the preferable basking slope degree. So the preferred basking slope that came out was 10 to 40 degrees. That was the most preferable one. And as we can see in this pie chart, that only 5 basking sites are between 50 to 60 degrees. And all 5 of them are present in zone number 7. Zone number 7, according to Dr. Rajuvyas, has the maximum population of crocodiles. So we can see by this, like we can see in this picture that the slope is so steep that the crocodile is unable to climb. So it has to perform partial basking. And if this keeps on happening, eventually animal would go under stress, because basking is a very important phenomena for their digestion to happen, because few enzymes activate around the preferable time, like that is 30 to 33 degrees. So the crocodile is unable to climb and the whole zone has similar slope. So due to lack of basking sites, they are forcefully compelled to bask between 50 to 60 degrees, but that is not an ideal choice. So that's why we have 5 of them in 50 to 60 degrees. We did not see any crocodile basking more than 60 degrees. It becomes very difficult for them to do that. So slope above 60 degrees were not preferred, and slope above 40 degrees are also not ideal, but it's because they don't have any option, they're using that. Then the slope maps of the area show that above 70 degrees was not seen in the Vishwamitri river bank. And I had some interesting observations apart from my study that I'll share with you. But my main conclusion over here that I would like to say is, due to all the activities, if these activities keep on continuing, it is eventually going to be a threat to this Schedule 1 animal, and this needs to stop. Few interesting observations, like I always had the mindset that crocodiles are very aggressive and like they're very harmful, but few things that I observed in the field were very different from what mindset I had. So this is the very first picture in which a feral dog and a crocodile are sharing the same habitat. And this is not just once. I have observed it 3 to 4 times. Like these dogs have stopped fearing of crocodiles and they're just like, sitting beside it. So it was beautiful to watch. And what the main reason is also because crocodiles are actually getting ready-made food by the like non-veg waste that is dumped in the river, as it's a sewage waste, so everything is dumped in this river. So they're getting ready-made food, so actually they have kind of stopped hunting in some cases. So we find these situations. This is a second picture in which a crocodile was basking and a pig came near it, and then it notices and it runs away. So this was in zone number 7. Then what I observed was to this. So wait, I'll play the video. So the cattle is pushing the crocodile from behind. So there were 3 crocodiles basking on the land, and suddenly cattle comes. So it had the path to go straight, but out of curiosity it went there, and then it was pushing the crocodile from behind, and the crocodiles were running away. So there were 3 of them, out of which one ran into the water, and it's pushing the second one. Even in other example also, I saw that there were crocodiles. So in the area where there are 8 crocodiles, so at the same place, cattle came, and then all the crocodiles ran away. So this is how the livestock or how the anthropogenic activities are affecting negatively on them. And also due to the non-veg waste, even they have stopped hunting. So this was one observation that I had seen. Okay, wait. So then another thing that I observed was so during the time when my study was going on, so their mating season was also going on. So around like this was around March starting. So I saw this. I'll just play the video. The video is not that clear because of. So I observed this. This was of like 15 minutes. And also apart from this, a lot of different biodiversity like flapshell turtles and like obviously crocodilians, then civets, mongoose. A lot of these different faunas were also observed. And yeah, so thank you so much for inviting me. How do I stop?
All right. It was a really wonderful talk, Aesha, and you made a very nice observations, I must say. And what I especially liked about your talk is like about your work. Actually, uh, you just involved the remote sensing and GIS technology, which actually makes your work unique. है So it was
Yeah, I
really,
learned it for this.
that's good. Thank you very much. It was a really very nice talk.